There is nothing to report out, so we will go ahead and adjourn the special meeting at 6:11 p.m. And at this time, I would like to call to order the Elk Grove City Council regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, February the 11th, 2026. The time is 6:12 p.m. Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. This meeting of the Elk Grove City Council is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Tonight's meeting replays will be on Friday, February 13th at 1 p.m. and Monday, February 16th, also at 1 p.m. on Metro Channel 14. Once posted, the recordings of this and previous meetings can be viewed on demand at the 3ws.elkgrove.gov or youtube.com/metrocable14. For members of the participating audience who may have personal electronic devices, please place them on silent mode during the meeting or on mute when you are not speaking. City Council welcomes, appreciates, and encourages participation in the City Council meeting. City Council requests that you limit your presentation to 3 minutes per person so that all present will have time to participate. City Council reserves the right to reasonably limit the total time for public comment on any particular notice agenda item as it may deem necessary. Pursuant to Resolution Number 2010-24, no individual speaker concerning public comment may address the City Council for more than 3 minutes. If you wish to address the Council during the meeting, please complete a blue speaker card, which can be found at the back of the chamber, and provide it to Assistant City Clerk Brenda Haggard prior to consideration of the agenda item. With that, Mayor, I'll be moving into the roll call. And for the roll call, I will start with Councilmember Robles. Present. Councilmember Spies. Present. Councilmember Brewer.
Present.
Vice Mayor Suen.
Here.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
All right, next up is our land acknowledgement. Would the Vice Mayor please assist?
Thank you, Mayor. We honor, respect, and acknowledge Elk Grove's first inhabitants, the Plains Miwok, who lived as sovereign caretakers of this land and these waterways since time immemorial. We commemorate and advocate for their descendants, the Wilton Rancheria tribe, the only federally recognized tribe in Sacramento County, who endured because of the bravery, resiliency, and determination of their ancestors, tribal members, and leaders.
All right, thank you. Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance. We have a young scout joining us this evening. I would like to call forward Michael John Frazier, who will help lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, please join us for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Next up is our approval of the agenda. May I get a motion?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next item, please.
Under Section 3, there are no closed session items on the regular agenda, and as well for Section 4, there are no presentation items on the regular agenda, which will advance us to Section 5, general public comment.
All right, at this time, I will go ahead and open up public comment. And just as a reminder, public comment is reserved for non-agenda items. So first up is Trista Kelly, followed by Deborah Williams. Come to the podium and you can speak into the mic.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the council. My name is Trista Kelly, a proud theater mom, and I'm here representing Musical Mayhem Productions this evening. It's a nonprofit youth theater company that serves as the heartbeat of the arts for right here in Elk Grove, California. MMP produces over 35 shows a year, engaging thousands of children from ages 4 to 8. Whether it's our upcoming production of the high school edition of Rent or the production of Suffs the Musical Junior, a pilot, we aren't just teaching choreography, we are providing a safe space where creativity is celebrated and in-person connections thrive. I've seen this transformation firsthand with my own 2 children. Youth theater is more than an extracurricular. It is a vital educational tool. Research shows that performing arts students demonstrate higher literacy, greater social awareness, and a level of confidence that stays with them for life. As Josh Groban once noted, Theater kids are the ultimate employees. They work well under pressure, meet strict deadlines, and improvise solutions at a moment's notice. Why wouldn't you want to hire a theater kid? Currently, Musical Mayhem Productions is working on a plan to create a permanent theater space in Elk Grove. This home would allow us to expand our programming and extend this magical experience to even more families in our community. When we support theater, we aren't just putting on a show. We are building a more resilient, empathetic, and economically vibrant future for our community. I invite you to visit mmpkids.com to see the work we do, and better yet, I hope to see you in the audience soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, and our final speaker for public comment is Deborah Williams.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm also a theater parent. I also teach theater, but I teach it for underprivileged children. But what I wanted to talk about Musical Mayhem Productions today is about how it actually doesn't just deal with students who pay to go to their programs. It also deals with homeschool students who are, and they go into other schools in Elk Grove. I was just down in Los Angeles at a different theater convention, and what I noticed is the theaters that were the communities that had theaters in them had thriving businesses. Because I live in Roseville, but I drive out here to bring my child to a theater program. And while I'm out here, I go to dinner, I go shopping, I do grocery shopping, I go to the Costco, we get gas, we do all that. And what I noticed when I was talking to families and when they were talking about it, whether it was in Puerto Rico or it was in Guam or it was just in Pleasanton down in the Bay Area, is that there was a central theater that people flock to, and everybody wants to see a theater in their community. And what would be great is if MMP could have a permanent home, because right now they're splitting their time between the 24th Street Theater, which is closer to me, and then all the schools that are around. And so it's viable for the community, and it's the heartbeat of the community, but it also benefits the community because people come from all over and spend money in your community. And that's what I wanted to say about theater today. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have one more public comment. Peter Frederick.
Elk Grove already knows what the Hindu Swayamsevak song is. This council quietly rescinded an HSS proclamation after Manteca did it publicly in August of 2022. After 150 people packed their chambers in Manteca after a 4-hour special meeting, after a 5-0 vote that made national headlines and an apology that said, quote, "The city wishes to apologize to all individuals who were hurt or negatively impacted." Manteca fought for that in the open. Elk Grove slipped it through in the dark. No special meeting, no debate, no apology, not even to the families who live here. And Elk Grove, of all cities, should know what silence costs. In 2011, someone murdered 2 sick grandfathers on an afternoon walk right here on Stockton Boulevard. Surinder Singh, 65, and Gurmej Atwal, 78. And the city named Singankor Park for them, and your sick mayor has said that that shooting is why she entered public service. And you proclaimed Elk Grove no place for hate. 15 years, and the case is unsolved. And when you had the chance to say publicly why you cut ties with an organization, the HSS, that is connected to India's RSS paramilitary, you whispered. So let me tell you what happened while you were whispering. The Hindu American Foundation, which partners with HSS and seeks proclamations alongside them, led the lobbying effort last year that killed Senate Bill 509. That bill would have trained your police department, the Elk Grove PD, to recognize when a foreign government targets people on American soil. Your police department, which in 15 years has never arrested anyone for murdering 2 sick grandfathers in your city. The Police Chiefs Association backed that bill, and both chambers passed it unanimously, and HAF killed it, and celebrated the veto as a victory for civil rights of all Californians. The federal government found resources to indict an Indian intelligence officer for plotting to assassinate a Sikh activist in New York a few years ago. Canada expelled diplomats over the same network. Washington takes threats against Sikh life seriously. And the organization, HAF, that blocked the one bill to help California cops do the same, still collects proclamations around the state. This council issues them too. You rescinded the HSS proclamation in the dark, but no place for hate still hangs in the light. You learned the truth, you acted on it, then you went quiet. Please finish what you started, because does a city that names a park for murdered sick grandfathers and says nothing while the bill to protect sick lives gets killed still get to call itself no place for hate? Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that is our final public comment. So at this time, I will go ahead and close public comment and turn it over to our city manager for the report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Jason Behrman, your city manager. A few items to report on this evening. News of Luke Bryan's nationally acclaimed farm tour coming to Elk Grove made headlines this last week. The farm tour 26 tickets go on sale tomorrow, February 12th at 8 a.m. This is one of only 3 Northern California stops on the tour set for Saturday, May 16th at Man Ranch. More information, including dining, lodging deals for the weekend, can be found on the Explore Elk Grove website. Community Partners Advocate of Little Saigon, Sacramento will usher in the Year of the Horse at the Lunar New Year Tet Festival and Parade this weekend, February 14th through 15th at Elk Grove Park. Local cuisine, unique vendors, and cultural performances will be part of the celebration. The event is free to attend. It will be open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on those 2 days. City of Elk Grove is proud to be among the many sponsors of this event. The city's Youth Commission will present Future Forward, a college and career readiness event, on Saturday, February 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at District 56, hosted in partnership with Sacramento Credit Union, the Elk Grove Scholarship Foundation, and Elk Grove Unified School District. This event is designed to empower Elk Grove youth with practical tools, guidance, and resources to support a confident and successful transition after high school. Advanced registration was required, and this event has sold out, so very popular. And there are just a few more days to submit your nomination for the 26th Stars of Service Award. Help recognize individuals or organizations who make Elk Grove a better place to live, work, and play. The online application can be found on the city's website, and the nomination period closes on Wednesday, February 25th. And finally, City Hall, Special Waste Collection Center, and the Animal Shelter will be closed on Monday, February 16th in observance of President's Day. Trash and recycling services and public safety services will operate on a normal schedule. And that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions that the council might have.
All right, thank you for your report. Any questions? Looking to the left, looking to the right. Thank you. All right, we will move on to our next item, our consent calendar items. At this time, I will open up public comment for consent items. I do not have anyone signed up to speak, so I will go ahead and close public comment. Any questions? If not, I'll look for a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, next item, please.
And like our other sections, we have no public hearings on the regular agenda tonight, which will take us to section 9, our regular agenda action items. And that first being 9.1, which is to receive the fiscal year 2025-26 mid-year budget report and consider a resolution amending the fiscal year budget, authorizing changes to the fiscal year position control listing, and approving an updated citywide salary and step schedule.
Good evening, Mayor Sting Allen, Vice Mayor Stewin, members of the council. I'm Nathan Bagwell, and I serve as your budget manager. I have the privilege this evening of presenting to you the fiscal year 25-26 mid-year budget review. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the many staff who contributed to this citywide effort led by our city manager, assistant city manager, the executive team, their dedicated staff. And I also want to recognize the outstanding analysts and the work they do in the budget office, Cecilia Long and Matt Ruiz. Their focus and commitment were critical to this work, so my sincere thanks to them. What we're going to be doing, we're going to take a high-level look tonight at general fund revenues and expenditures. We'll look at Measure E, major non-general funds, as well as proposed position control updates as well, and we will conclude with council actions and direction. So we're going to start with mid-year report, the mid-year report, general fund revenues. Bottom line, we're looking at a $4.4 million increase overall. Property tax and sales tax make up about 70% of the general fund revenues, so we're going to focus mostly on those, closely on those. Property tax year-end revenues are projected to exceed the adopted budget, and staff is recommending adjusting the estimate accordingly. Sales tax is trending up about 8%. This is driven by strong retail and auto sales, fuel, and continued growth in online transactions. While this trend is positive, sales tax remains sensitive to broader economic conditions, and we will continue to monitor this closely. Additionally, investment income continues to outperform due to elevated interest rates. We've already earned about 3 of the 3.5 million we assumed for the year, so staff is recommending an increase to better reflect expected results. All other general fund revenues are tracking close to budget, and no additional adjustments are recommended at this time. Transitioning to expenditures, at mid-year, the city spent about half, 51 million or 52% of the current year budget. Salary and benefit costs are currently tracking roughly 4% below budget, which is largely due to positional vacancies. As part of this review process, staff is recommending $156,000 of one-time general fund adjustments. These are one-time adjustments for operational needs and timing issues. These include the 4th of July drone show in recognition of the nation's 250th birthday, in code enforcement, increased abatement activity and higher citation appeal volumes, and lastly, temporary recruitment and consultant support services during a leadership transition here at the city. We'll transition now to Measure E. This is the city's 1-cent sales tax that's focused on community priorities. We've received roughly 11.2 million in revenue so far, and we are projecting 34 for the year, which is one more than we adopted in the budget, hence the recommendation to increase. On the expenditure side, the city has spent about 3.9 or 19% of the operating budget. This is expected. Many Measure E projects are one-time and or multi-year infrastructure projects that we anticipate ramping up in the second half of the year as construction begins. Staff is requesting a targeted mid-year Measure E adjustment to address emerging cost pressures, which include increased public safety operational demands and higher than anticipated healthcare costs. Taking a look now at amendment requests for non-general funds, this slide highlights targeted mid-year adjustments to operating and capital funds. $141,000 in Laguna Ridge Maintenance Services Fund, this to address unanticipated repairs and looking to add 1 maintenance specialist to support the city's assumption of additional maintenance. We will discuss FTEs in more detail momentarily. There is a $61,000 request in roadway fee fund, complete work at the Grant Line and southbound 99 interchange. Public Works, this $214,000 request is for consultant services, $200,000 of it to pursuant to a high volume of CIP requests and 2 personnel reclassifications, which again, we'll cover that momentarily. Next slide. There's a request for $127,000 gas tax. This is for our traffic engineering management center. This is to support consultant support to maintain operations. Facilities and fleet, $39,000 request there. This is for unanticipated maintenance needs and a compliance audit. And lastly, $140,000 for library improvements where we are applying earned interest from the previous fiscal year. This is with the intent to offset construction costs and reduce the need for additional funding. That brings us lastly to proposed position control updates. Staff is recommending targeted reclassifications in 1 new position to better align staffing with expanded programs, evolving job duties, and operational needs across multiple departments. Key changes include reclassifications in the city manager's office relative to transportation planning, in public works, administrative, financial, and facility supports roles, and in the police department to align a position with current responsibilities. In addition to this, staff is recommending 1 new maintenance specialist. This is to support the city's assumption of Laguna Ridge landscaping maintenance and some streetscape responsibilities with trails. This allows work to shift from contractors to in-house service. That then brings us to the recommendation for council to adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 25-26 budget, along with changes to the position control listing and approving an updated citywide salary and step schedule. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you for your presentation. At this time, I'll open up public comment. Seeing no one has signed up to speak on this item, I will go ahead and close public comment. Any questions or comments from council colleagues? Looking to the right, seeing none? Yes, Councilmember Brewer.
Want to thank you, Mr. Bagwell, for this presentation and looking at how we are moving forward on this budget. Really good signs, especially when you're looking at how we're doing it and the intentionality that we're doing it in. So thank you. Very happy to see where we're going. And when the resolution is time to be called up, I'd like to make a motion for it.
That time is now. I also want to just thank you for your presentation, and I hope the members of the audience can feel proud of their city, seeing that we have healthy reserves, a healthy budget, and it's not something that other cities can actually boast about. So I'm glad to see that we have a house packed, probably not for this item, but you can see that your city is doing well. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Nathan. You want to make the motion, Councilman Brewer?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. And next item, please.
Is to receive a presentation on potential sites for the permanent homeless shelter project and provide a ranked preference of locations to pursue for acquisition, CEQA exempt.
All right, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Sarah Bontrager, your Housing and Public Services Manager. And as Jason said, we're going to be talking about the permanent homeless shelter. I know we've got a lot of folks in the audience tonight, and so I do want to start the presentation with a little bit of level setting about the shelter. I do recognize several of the faces in the room from some of our community meetings and glad to see them out tonight. But I think there are some new faces here as well. And so just setting the stage for what we were going for with this homeless shelter effort. Recognizing we've heard from our community that addressing homelessness is a top priority. We have a relatively small share of Elk Grove's overall homeless population, less than 2% of the county's population, but it was a high priority when we did our Measure E polling, and it's something we hear from a lot. We hear from a lot of residents about this. We want to recognize that when we implement homeless solutions, that benefits our whole community. Some of the things that we've seen since we opened our year-round shelter is a 65% decrease in encampments. And we've seen several people move on to permanent housing as well. So great outcomes for folks staying in the shelter, but also good outcomes for the neighborhood. And just to start this up, I know some of the biggest fears about the shelter are that we will be attracting folks from other cities. This shelter project is going to solve Elk Grove's needs. It is not meant to solve the region's needs. It's not meant to solve Sacramento's needs. And in fact, we have a pretty rigorous vetting process for folks who are coming into the shelter. So we've had some experience with shelters over the years, as you know. We opened the Enhanced Winter Sanctuary in 2023 in the Rite Aid building that will be the future library. And about a little over a year ago, opened the location with our partner at the Calvary Christian Center. We have a lease at that space through October of 2028, so we needed to start planning for where we go. Thinking a little bit about the shelter successes, why do we need a shelter? That's a question that's come up really often at some of our community meetings and particularly in our surveys. We were able to serve 95 people in the first year of operations of the shelter and move 14 of them on to permanent housing. This number would be higher if we'd added in what's happened in the last month or so. We've had a number of people that have moved out and into permanent housing. We've also had good success connecting people with behavioral health, mental health resources, and with employment. Sometimes people come to us employed. In the last year, 12 people found new or better employment while they were at the shelter. So we have done some impact mitigation for the neighborhood around the shelter. Our PD and navigators, homeless services navigators, spend a lot of time in and around the shelter. And we've received relatively few neighborhood complaints. It's not a zero, but it's a lower number than we would see from some of the other shelters in the region. In the first year, we had 51 public initiated calls to the shelter, but only 6 of those came from members of the public. The rest came from either shelter guests or shelter staff. So in light of that, the continued need for shelter, there will always be people experiencing homelessness for one reason or another. We want to get started planning now. So we started back in July with some conceptual planning and then moved into the siting criteria and site selection phase in October, which is culminating in this meeting. After this, hopefully we'll be able to move forward with the site and move on to design, development, and ultimately bidding and construction. So we had a few goals in the shelter project, one of which was clear and transparent communication with our residents. So we've had many opportunities for folks to participate in the design of the shelter, in the locating of the shelter. And advertise that in a lot of ways through online feedback opportunities, which we'll share the results of those. We did some targeted outreach to community groups and neighborhoods, shared with our mailing list in a social media campaign, our city newsletters. This was featured in 3 of them. And that started with some community engagement. And I know you've all seen this before, so I'll move pretty quickly through this. Community meetings in August and September to get us to, and we also ran a survey on what folks would want to see in a shelter conceptually. So we saw a lot of support for including families and pets, which we are accommodating, a lot of support for services offered at the shelter, and for something that fits in with Elk Grove. So where we landed on this with the conceptual program, a low barrier model that accepts people's possessions. They need to be able to bring some of their belongings, their pets, and their partners if they have one. We are planning for 20 beds for adults at this shelter with 5 emergency beds that can be used by our police department, and then 4 family units that are combinable if we have larger families. We also wanted to add a commercial kitchen. That's a great opportunity for our volunteer groups, as well as a training opportunity for the guests of the shelter. Wanted to have a welcoming space, trauma-informed design, adequate office space, which right now is not great in our current facility, and just overall something that really reflects the needs of the Elk Grove community. So our shelter that we are planning, as I mentioned, and want to say again and stress throughout, this is for our local community. This is not for the region. This is to help Elk Grove residents who become homeless and offer them a safe place to be. And to keep it safe, 24/7 staffing, 3 staff on site at all times, setting rules and expectations. This is not a place for folks who want to engage in unlawful behavior. This is not a drop-in site for folks. This is referral only. And we want to make sure that it blends into the community. And part of that is not identifying it as a homeless shelter. So we will be working to come up with a name for this facility. And I've heard a few suggestions thrown out, and that's something we will come back to the council with. The eligibility piece of this is really important. The vetting process takes place through our navigation team. Our homeless services navigator, David, is somewhere in the room tonight and definitely available to talk to folks who might have questions about how exactly this works. But we do a lot of talking to folks. We will go out, we will visit where did they used to live, talk to their neighbors, make sure that the information that we're getting about that is truthful. And then we do some background on folks, right? The facility does not serve registered sex offenders. It's not the right option for people who have behavioral health challenges who aren't going to be able to live in that shared living environment. We don't do walk-ups or drop-offs. You have to come through the navigators and go through that vetting process in order to get in. And you can't use drugs or alcohol on site. So if you make it through the vetting process to the new shelter, these are a couple of renderings of what it might look like. So an inviting reception area with warm tones, a multi-purpose room that could be used for dining and also for offering educational classes during the day, sleeping areas that recognize the different circumstances that folks come to us with. So semi-private areas, but here you can see we have a plan for people who come with pets. That pet can stay with them in their own area rather than be kenneled at a different location. Accommodating folks with disabilities and accessibility needs, and then also accommodating couples who want to stay together. And then offering some secured outdoor space so people have a way to spend time outside in nature in a secure area that's not visible to the surrounding community. So, in general, that was all pretty positive. The feedback we got on the conceptual plan was pretty positive. But as we all know, choosing a site is the hard part of this process. And so we started the process by having a survey about siting criteria. What was important to folks in choosing a shelter location? We moved from that, and I'll talk a little bit more about the results of that. But once we actually were ready to look at some sites, we did targeted mailers to over 3,200 addresses. We also did a lot of social media and an impressive reach on that, and a win for our public affairs team, 139,000 views on our various social media platforms. 4 in-person community meetings. We did at 3 and 6 p.m. on 2 days. The 3 p.m. time was surprisingly more popular than the 6 p.m. time. And then an online survey. So the first survey that we did was not about sites specifically, but about what was important to folks. And what we heard, we asked folks to allocate 10 points across these 5 categories. And on average, people allocated 4.6 points to sensitive uses. So 46% of their priority was on making sure that the site was not near sensitive uses, which we defined as homes, residences, schools, and parks. Cost and feasibility was also important to folks, and then lesser importance, proximity to services, safety and security, which we found often overlapped with proximity to sensitive uses in folks' minds, and then transportation access. So we added some open text fields in that survey too. A lot of folks wrote in about sort of the same themes. They wanted the shelter to be away from residential areas. They wanted vetting of the guests and a program design that emphasized folks having access to resources and treatment, and a lot of support for pets. So this was none of the surveys that we did related to the shelter this last year were statistically valid. So I want to take a step back to 2024 when we did do a statistically valid survey on homelessness, just to take a look at what that looked like. And at that time, we had about 58% of people that felt homelessness was a major or moderate problem in Elk Grove. And a lot of folks attributed that to mental health considerations or addiction and substance abuse. But a recognition that income and affordable housing accessibility were a challenge for a lot of folks. So 27% said the city was good or excellent at dealing with homelessness, showing that we still had work to do, but 44% acknowledged that Elk Grove was doing better than other cities. The real interesting part of this survey was we asked folks what they supported in the city and in their own neighborhood. And we had a number of different types of housing and outreach services. Before this, for temporary shelters, which is what we're talking about tonight, a shelter where folks can stay for some period of time. It is not their forever home. Their goal is to move on to permanent housing. Overall, about a third of our population supported having a temporary shelter in the city, and 37% supported having one in their neighborhood. Now, this was in concept, not a site that was actually identified, but 54% of folks either supported or were neutral in this statistically valid survey towards having a shelter in their neighborhood. So that shows, that there are a lot of folks that do value having that in our city. So we started our location selection process at a high level. We looked at about 130 sites in the city and narrowed it down ultimately to about 10 sites that we did a scoring and feasibility analysis on. And our architect partner for that, NJA, is here, and I know that they are happy to answer questions about the intricacies of that scoring process. And through that scoring, which is all available for those 10 sites, are all up on our website, we narrowed it down to 3 sites that received an overall green or good rating. And that is what we released publicly. So here you can see the 3 sites in different areas of the city, and the gray dots represent all the sites that we looked at. So we really did look throughout the city for potential locations. These are a little bit more close-up of the 3 sites. So we have the Dwight Road site in the Laguna West area, the East Stockton site, which is south of Bond Road along 99, and then another site along 99 at the very southern end of the city. So for the Dwight Road site, we didn't identify a specific parcel because there were multiple areas in that Dwight Road area that could work for a shelter. There's a mix of vacant land and existing buildings there. The East Stockton site is most centrally located in the city. It's currently zoned for high-density residential, so for apartments. about 4 acres, and we would be looking at, if this were the selected site, using a portion of that site for a shelter use. And so here you can see a conceptual drawing that the architect prepared. This is not a final version of the site, but it is what it could look like and how it might fit on the site. The same for the Survey Road site. This is about 1.5 acres, so it is a much smaller site, which makes it more constrained for us in terms of a development perspective. But you can see here that a shelter use would fit on the site, including some capability to include some outdoor space and adequate parking. So where we ended up is scoring in the different categories here. And as you can see, the proximity to sensitive uses is represented as a larger dot than the other categories. Those are scaled to the percentage that was assigned to them by the community in importance. No site is perfect. The East Stockton site did score green in all the categories, while the Survey Road site scored more poorly in terms of its proximity to services and its access to transportation. One of the questions that we've got a lot in this process is, how could a site score well for proximity to sensitive uses when there are homes nearby? And what we actually looked at for that was how easy it would be to access those homes if you were walking on common paths. And so for a site like East Stockton, where there are nearby homes, but they are separated from the site by masonry wall, you actually would need to walk up to Bond Road and over or down to Banff Vista to get into the residential neighborhoods. So that's a little bit of how we did that analysis, and NJA could certainly say quite a bit more about that. So once we released the 3 sites, we released them with information on the meetings that we planned to have. We had a total of 237 people attend. Some people attended every meeting. Most people just attended, I think, one meeting. And of those 237 attendees, we had 73 of them fill out a post-meeting survey. So the meeting offered a lot of feedback opportunities. We had input boards throughout the room. So we had stations on certain topics where folks could go to have a conversation, to give their comments, which were written on the boards. And in your council packet, I'm sure you saw the results of what was written on the input boards. We included all of that feedback for you. Folks could write on comment cards. Again, all of that was included in your packet. And then we had an open online survey. You could take the survey if you went to the meeting, but we also had a general survey that anyone could take. What we heard at the community meeting was, some of what we expected. Folks were really concerned about having the shelter near their home. We also heard some concerns from businesses that the shelter would have a negative impact on their business or cause crime in the area. We did take comments on specific sites, of course. The Dwight Road site, folks felt that it was pretty close to schools and senior housing in residential areas, and that there were some youth-serving businesses out in that area, and that is true. There are a number of youth and family-oriented uses out there. There were also some comments about the future train station and how that would affect the area. At the 9296 East Stockton site, that's the one that's more centrally located. There were some concerns just about perception and guest safety, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in light of the business conversations that we had. A lot of folks took the time to talk to our safety and security station, where our police department was able to have conversations and share information with folks. Crime, traffic were big things that came up. Really wanting to recognize the safety of children walking to school and being out walking and biking in their community. And traffic safety came up surprisingly often as well, that some of the sites are located on more high-speed roads, that might be unsafe for some of the guests, many of whom do get around by walking and biking. And then we took a lot of questions about shelter security, how that would work, how PD would be a part of that through cameras or other means. So cost and feasibility, there were definitely concerns raised from our residents about how we will pay for this, how we will pay to operate it long-term. And one thing that came up more than a few times was what would happen if we needed to expand the shelter at some point in the future as our city continues to grow. And some folks noted that that would be more limited at the Survey Road site. So a lot of folks have commented on the proximity to services and transportation and the importance of folks, shelter guests, being able to get around, have access to employment and stores and healthcare, and just thinking through some of the mobility concerns that some of our guests have. A lot of great questions at our programs and operations input area too. Pretty standard questions about how the shelter operates. This was a great opportunity to have some of our staff and our shelter operators share information on how the shelter connects people to mental health and substance use resources, how the shelter provides transportation for folks needing it, how the shelter staffs and what types of work their staff do. So we got a lot of community feedback through that. We also had several meetings with the business community. So one of the things that happened when we prioritized proximity to sensitive uses is that we ended up with sites that were in areas that had more businesses. That was not something that in our community surveys came up as a concern, but certainly when we released the sites, we did have many businesses raise concerns about the sites. So we did meet with the Town Place Suites, which is just south of the East Stockton site. It's adjacent to it there. And they shared some of their concerns about how it might impact their operations, particularly in light of the importance of online reviews for their shelter or for their hotel going forward, and noted that, you know, if things didn't go well for them, that the city would see a reduced transit occupancy tax. We also got a comment from Explore Elk Grove asking that the council not locate a shelter within 1,000 feet of a hotel and requesting an economic impact study. And we did hear this call for an economic impact study from several of the businesses. The office condos near East Stockton, their association met with us and some of the owners. They were concerned about the viability of selling their properties and the safety impacts of it. We had some Dwight Road comments. The Sacramento Area Sewer District raised some concerns about the proximity to their Echo Water sewer facility. And one of the businesses in Dwight Road, out on Dwight Road, raised similar concerns about business impacts. And then down at the Survey Road site, we did have a chance to talk with the Flatland Brewing Company, which is immediately adjacent to the Survey Road site. And they were concerned about some potential impacts to their business from the shelter guests. So the city is committed, wherever this shelter goes, the city is committed to working with the businesses in the surrounding area to look at how we can design the shelter buildings, how we can design that space to minimize impact, and how we can be a good neighbor, including making sure that we're responsive quickly to any problems that would arise. So most of our residents gave their feedback through a community survey. So we had 812 people respond to our online survey. That's the combined results of the post-meeting survey for those who went to those community meetings and the general one that was open. And we asked a number of questions, but the most important being, which sites did people prefer? And
Can I just ask a quick question on that one? For the online survey, were they unique individuals, like unique emails associated, or like maybe one person filling it out maybe 10 times?
So the way that the survey tracked it, we could not necessarily tell if folks were filling it out a ton of times. Many people did leave their contact information. So in my looking through it, it didn't look like that was the case. Many people put open text comments in there and wrote a variety of things. And so that to me says when you've left a paragraph in one, you're probably not writing another paragraph and another paragraph. So it didn't seem like it was a huge issue where folks were continuing to take the survey time and time again, but that is hard to track. So with the preferred sites ranking, so this is not weighted, this is just responses from those roughly 800 folks. You can see here that the Survey Road site was the first choice of about 43% of people. With the East Stockton site kind of being second, 31% indicated that was their first choice, and the Dwight site being the least popular. You can see that the most people indicated that the Dwight Road site was their least favorite. 45% of people liked that site the least. And then this table shows some weighting. So if we assigned people's first choice 3 points, their second choice 2 points, and their third choice 1 point, the Survey Road site would have almost 1,800 votes compared to about 1,600 for the East Stockton and a little under 1,500 for Dwight Road. And then this is very interesting. We did ask people to report their home zip code. The vast majority of people who took the survey reported one of 3 Elk Grove zip codes. There were only a handful of people that reported living somewhere else. So what this shows is that for folks who lived in the 95757, the middle one here, there was no site in the 95757. When we looked at it, there weren't any great choices in that zip code. Folks who filled out the survey from that zip code, which was fewer than filled it out from some of the other zip codes, about equally preferred all 3 sites. Folks who lived in the 95758, which is where the Dwight Road site is located, overwhelmingly preferred the Survey Road and East Stockton sites. And then folks who lived on the east side in the 95624 zip code preferred the Survey Road and the Dwight Road site equally. So in general, what this shows you is that folks are voting for the site that is not particularly near their place of residence. So surprising, right? Yeah. So we did see in the open text responses for the survey, still a strong emphasis on the sensitive uses, on keeping it away from residential neighborhoods, on protecting children going in and around their neighborhoods, on safety and security. A lot of folks mentioned increased police patrols would be something that they would like to see. We had a lot of people point out the need for access to services and transportation. And it was interesting, a lot of the folks, particularly that did not like the Dwight Road site, pointed out that that was not a great location for access to services and transportation. And then we had a lot of the folks that didn't prefer the Survey Road site also make that argument that that site was lacking in that way. Some comments on programming. How are we choosing people for the shelter? What are our expectations of them? And then we did see some comments on budget impacts. And so here are some of the key site considerations that we saw from the survey. So each site has advantages and disadvantages. Staff thinks that we could make any of these sites work, but they all have different advantages and disadvantages. Over at Dwight Road, it's not immediately adjacent to residential. There is decent access to retail and employment opportunities in that area, but there are a lot of businesses nearby, and there are a good number of youth-serving businesses. There's a gymnastics studio, the bowling alley, and the Sava, the charter school. There is a daycare out there as well. So there's a number of those types of businesses there. And there's some pretty limited transportation options if you're biking or walking, although there is public transit that runs by there. For the survey road site on the far right here, that was very far from residential uses. It's the site that really is the furthest from residential uses. And it was one of the more affordable sites to acquire based on its smaller size and to develop, we think. But it is not very close to a lot of businesses. There are some, or it is close to a lot of businesses. There are some youth-serving businesses down there. There's a music school that's adjacent to the site. There's not much retail nearby if folks are looking to go to a store, and pick up a drink or some food. It has the poorest of the transportation options as well. It is the hardest to get from that site to other areas in the city just by virtue of being on the edge of the city. We think that we would be able to fit the existing shelter plan on there, but really no opportunity for expansion. And that location, just by virtue of where it's located in the city, in the event that we didn't need a shelter in the future, there's less reuse capacity for that building as another use. So the East Stockton site was not immediately adjacent to single-family residential. It is nearby there, but the walking distance to it is a little bit further. It does have the best access to retail and social services and employment of the three sites, and the best transportation options, being close to Bonds Laguna there. And interestingly enough, it has the fewest youth-serving businesses nearby of all three sites. But it is the one where we got perhaps the most feedback from nearby businesses that they were worried that this would impact their operations, including the Town Place Suite and the office condos across the street from it. So a lot to weigh there for you all. The city doesn't own any of these sites, so we would have to acquire any of the sites. And one of the reasons that we're asking you tonight to rank them in preference is we don't know on any given site that we will be able to reach an agreement with the property owner. So we are looking at the cost to develop. This is still something that's very much under development. We think that the survey road site would likely be the least expensive because it is the smallest site. The East Stockton site is on the more expensive side, but there would be some additional land that we would be picking up as a part of that site. It's a larger site overall, and that's driving some of that cost increase, as is getting the infrastructure onto the site. And then the Dwight Road site, because we didn't have a specific parcel we were looking at, that was a little harder to estimate the actual costs there. So we gave it a fairly wide range, but that could be adjusted based on which site we actually acquired, if that were the preferred location. We do have this budgeted through Measure E, and we also have some state homeless appropriation funds that we're planning to use, about $4 million. From that fund, with the remainder coming from Measure E. So a lot of information to digest here, and I know we'll hear a lot from folks in the audience, but what we are asking the council to do after hearing from everyone is to provide a ranked preference of the site. So we would like to know which site you would like staff to negotiate for first, and then let us know your second and third choices. And we would work through them in that order. We do not have a lot of time to spare on this project. Right now, the construction timeframe is really tight. And so we will need to move quickly to go work with the site owners and see if we can accomplish an agreement. So I'm happy to answer questions. I know our NJA folks are happy to answer questions if you have detailed questions on the scoring.
Thank you for your very thorough presentation. I think what I will suggest is we take some questions and at the onset while you're here, and then follow-up questions and deliberations after we hear from the public. I asked already about the surveys. I do have two just follow-up questions before I turn to my colleagues. We are going to be in the existing place till the end of 28?
October 2028.
Okay, so that's still some time. That's still a ways. And this is going to take a few years to even build.
Yes.
One of the sites that has 0 businesses today, that's not necessarily what will be there tomorrow, as in 3 years from now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, those were my questions. Look to the left, any questions for Sarah? Yes, Vice Mayor? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Sarah, thank you, Mayor, and thanks, Sarah, for the presentation and recap on everything. Great job to you and the team for outreach to the community and getting the word out, education, and answering all the questions from folks. I just had some things from review because you mentioned we mentioned transportation, but I wanted to ask you our homeless demographic. Are they using transit mostly to get around? How are they getting around?
So they don't use transit as often as we might hope. Transit runs relatively infrequently in our city and doesn't always go directly to the places that they might want to go. So we do see a lot of our folks walking, and most of them have bikes, and so they get around a lot by biking. The shelter staff are available to transport people to certain types of appointments. Like they will take you to your job interview, they will take you to your medical health care appointments, to go get Social Security cards or sign up for benefits. They don't take people on like personal or social errands. They won't take you to the store, for example, or to go have dinner with your mom. But they will, if it's working towards your housing or employment, they are available for transportation for that.
Okay, and then and you mentioned stores. I mean, are they, typically the demographic in terms of grocery store? Are they usually going there, or are their food being provided by the shelter?
So the shelter does provide 3 meals a day and snacks, and most of our folks do eat at the shelter. The vast majority of them also receive CalFresh benefits in some amount, and so they can use their CalFresh benefits to buy foods that they might want that aren't available at the shelter. We have a lot of great partners at the shelter. It doesn't, what's served might not meet someone's dietary restrictions or preferences at every meal, and so we do see folks wanting to spend their CalFresh benefits at grocery stores.
Okay, and then how long, we talked about the temporary nature of the shelter, that it's not intended for permanent stay. How long is the typical stay of residents?
So our standard is 6 months is the goal to get folks out. Now, if folks are working on a goal, for example, doing a Social Security disability application can take longer than that. If folks are working on a goal, if they've got employment and they're just waiting for an affordable housing unit to open up, then we can extend that time frame because it's in our best interest to kind of make sure that they're stabilized before we put them into housing.
Yeah, and then my recollection was the current shelter, since we've been operating, we've been able to reduce encampments in our city by 65%. And get dozens of homeless people into permanent housing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it for now. Thanks.
Councilmember Brewer, did you have a question for Sarah? Okay. Councilmember Spies?
I do have a few quick questions. Councilmember Suen jumped on a lot of them for me, so that's a good thing. I won't go over them again. I do have a question. Let's talk about Walk Score real quick. I tried to look it up myself. It says it's proprietary information on how Walk Score is calculated. Could you give me a little bit of understanding on how Walk Score is calculated?
CJ, do you want, I know you're far more familiar.
Sure, good evening, council. So the Walk Score in this case is a qualitative analysis around what the experience of a pedestrian or other user of, say, the sidewalk or trail infrastructure would be to access services or other transit opportunities and whatnot from the potential shelter location out to the outside world. So in cases we look at places like, what's the status of sidewalks in the area? ability for people to cross the street reasonably, are there signalized intersections, activated crosswalks, other trail infrastructure. There are other categories or other ways we can look at a traditional walk score that's more comprehensive, and it's a procedure we would use through a more detailed environmental review process. Our general plan lays out a protocol for that. But in this case, it's really more of a qualitative analysis looking at what that infrastructure would be and what that experience would be for users.
So putting that in layman's terms.
In simple terms, it's how easy is it for you to get from point A to point B?
Okay,
How
so it's really the shortest distance between 2 points.
it can be a short distance. It can also be the safety around that. So we will look at places where there are sidewalks, where there are clear crosswalks, say pedestrian signalization at a signalized intersection. Those are places that are going to score better in the review because they are a safer environment for a pedestrian versus locations where maybe there are more challenging movements. So I believe, if Sarah, you want to bring the scores back up to compare the 3 sites, if I recall correctly, you'll see in there.
There's a lot of slides. I'm going.
Yeah, a lot of good information.
Okay.
I know we're almost there. It's like 2 more, I think.
It's slow. Yeah. Come on. Okay. Should be the next one.
There we go. Okay. So on this one, so we can actually see the scores here as a comparative basis. So in the case of something like Dwight, when we're talking about the walk score, it's what's that experience to get from the potential location that's there, which certainly is a fairly large area with the number of sites we were looking at, to get to places such as the proximity to services. There are sidewalks in the area that are able to connect you. There is the signalized intersection at Dwight and Laguna Boulevard that you'd be able to cross. There's not a signalized leg, if I recall correctly, at that dogleg turn to go westbound to get towards the freeway. So there's a little bit of a conflict there. Additionally, for some of our shelter guests who may experience disabilities, getting over the railroad tracks, while there is a dedicated sidewalk for them to make that transition, you are talking about a grade separation, about a vertical change for them to have to navigate to get up over. And so in that case, in the distance they're having to go for those services, the additional streets they have to cross, it does score poor in that case. In something like the case of Stockton, or East Stockton, we know that on the frontage of the property itself, there is additional sidewalk improvements that need to be installed. But once those are addressed, you can very easily get up to, say, Bond Road, where you have a number of retail opportunities, a signalized intersection. It's fairly easy to generally navigate up that direction. Conversely, eventually, again, there's some improvements with some sidewalk gaps to fill, but you could certainly go south a little bit to get down towards Elk Grove Boulevard. In the case of Survey Road, similar sort of issue, but you're talking about getting out towards Grant Line and the proximity of the services that are around it. So sort of a relationship there. The ability to make those movements and get out further within the broader community becomes a challenge. You think about going up, say, East Stockton, north of Grant Line. We don't have sidewalks on both sides of the street. There's a couple of gap segments to deal with as you continue to go further north. You also have the fact that you're crossing either over 99 or over the railroad tracks to get to other potential destinations. Again, things like services. So those distances from a walkability start to really negatively impact the characteristics of those sites.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, the other question I have, just point of clarification, there will be 3 suites for families, right?
4.
4 suites for families.
4 that are combinable, rooms that are combinable if we have a larger family.
Okay, and so in that, we would imagine that, I mean, they're from infant through toddler, through grade school to 18, right?
Yes,
Or
yeah, 0 to 17.
and-
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Let's see. So do we have a discrete budget item currently for transportation in the budget for TGI?
We do have a mileage line item for them in that budget.
Okay, how does that work?
So when their staff need to transport someone to an appointment, they track the mileage on that, and then they file an expense report, and they're reimbursed for that mileage at the IRS rate.
Okay. And so what are they typically taking them to?
So they are typically taking them to appointments to get documents, so birth certificate, social security card, ID. They take them to job interviews, to housing appointments, and to healthcare. is a big one. We really make it a point to connect as many of our folks as possible to behavioral health or mental health care, and to physical health care, to make sure that they have those things taken care of while they're in the shelter and have a good ongoing plan to manage their health once they're housed.
Okay. And so the TGI employees are using their POV or their personally owned vehicle to do
Yes.
that, and then they ask for reimbursement?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's good.
Councilmember Robles, do you have any questions for Sarah right now?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I do. Just thank you for the presentation, and thank you, staff, for really digging into this. I know that this is never an easy, this is never really easy, right? And a lot of the folks, thank you for being out here and being patient with us as we deliberate what will happen and, potential sites. This is never really easy, but this is why we're here. We're elected to make decisions, and including tough decisions. I do want to go a little bit back on where the shelter is currently. Why wasn't that specific location on this as a priority?
Yes, so that was one of the 10 locations that we scored. So it did make our short list. It did not score as favorably as the East Stockton site that you do see on the list, in part because of its proximity to homes. That really impacted the scoring. It's much closer. You turn right and you go into a neighborhood there, as I'm sure some folks in the audience will tell you tonight. The other factor there was feasibility. So there are currently buildings on that site. Those buildings are not easy to reuse on that site. So it's a fairly large site that the city would need to acquire, and then it would need some demolition. And we also had some concerns. That site used to be a former Chrysler dealership and maintenance facility, and so there are some unknown environmental aspects to that site too.
Okay. Would that site be anywhere in the range of 12 to 15 million? I think that's where we're looking for how much we're spending on the other potential sites.
I'm not sure. We didn't do the cost analysis on that site.
Okay.
We do believe it would be more than the sites with vacant land.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And then I think this one's more on the safety side. Chief, going to be asking, because I know we did discuss a little bit about so I think there was several calls, correct, that were done where the current shelter is at. Would you see any of these potential 3 sites being impacted because of these calls?
So I will say that over the last year, our calls for service, and that's specific to the current shelter, went up about 100 calls, so a little over 9% or so. We'll be able to perform wherever the council chooses to place this facility, and we will do everything in our power to ensure that the community and neighborhoods and businesses are safe and can flourish. So really, wherever it's at, we're going to be able to perform the way we perform now.
Okay, thank you. And then I know that we were looking, Ms. Montrager, when you were mentioning, we were looking at that there was not real economic study impact on this, correct? I'm assuming it was potentially because when they were doing the survey, it was more so on walkability, transit, transportation, and all that, correct?
So what we heard from the survey from residents was that their concern was really that it not be near homes, schools, parks. There was not a concern that really arose that it not be near businesses. An economic impact study is challenging to do. We don't have a lot of comparable shelters to ours, both in terms of size or how we operate it. I will say that for the Rite Aid Center shopping center site that we had the shelter at for 6 months, we checked in with a lot of those businesses during and after the shelter. And really, it was reported that many of them had no issues, didn't know it was there. And so we have that as a basis. We also haven't heard from our current shelter that a lot of the businesses in that area have suffered as a result of the shelter. And so there's not a lot of basis to think that there would be or information that we could use to study that in a local context, I guess.
Thank you. And then Is there any shelters, I mean, within this region? I know we're focusing in we're focusing here in Elk Grove, but is there any within Sacramento, Rancho, Davis that are near any, I would say, hotel occupancy and tourism like areas?
I would have to look at that a little bit more. Certainly, West Sacramento, there are a lot of shelter uses in their motels. A lot of nonprofits use that as kind of a shelter in and around the motel area there. That is something that we could look at, is how many are around motels.
We're just asking, and then I think for right now, that's kind of the questions that I have, and then we'll open up for comments and then go from
Yeah,
there.
we'll come back to comments, but with your indulgence, Council.
I just had one more.
Oh, yeah,
question.
one more follow-up. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. CJ, just in regards to some services, I was looking at the Survey Road site, and I know it's on the fringe today, but I'm just wondering if you can remind us of, there's a lot of things we have going on that's being planned in the planning phase or have been approved and ready to go to construction. Can you please list off a few?
So late last year, you denied the appeal for the Maverick gas station project, so that is moving forward at this point. I don't have a definitive timeline on construction, but I know they're interested in moving forward this calendar year. So that's at the corner of Grant Line and East Stockton, so just up the street or so. The surrounding property owner has expressed interest in developing out that center. I would generally describe it as probably more highway-oriented retail uses. They've not indicated a time frame for when that center would come in, but we expect it over the next couple of years.
High retail, just like fast food or?
Fast food, they've
mini marts?
identified, they've talked about a hotel at that location. They've talked about some fast food related dining, some inline shop components. I think a car wash may have been in the list of things. So from an employment perspective, certainly would give folks, their guests at the center, at the shelter, an opportunity to seek some employment opportunities in that immediate area. On the going northeast over the railroad tracks up at Waterman, there's another small retail center with a gas station that's been approved. It's not broken ground for construction yet, and there's a couple of other uses, I think another drive-through, an inline pad, and then there was another larger retail building, I think probably about 20-some-odd thousand square feet that was proposed, and then some storage uses. And then back on the other side of 99, there's the existing Chevron gas station. A lot of the other approvals around there have since expired. Development agreement expired back in October, but you've got the casino and the existing Kaiser outpatient medical facility that's there. And so we may see the tribe move forward on some development in that area in the future.
And we still have annexation applications in process.
And then we have annexation applications on the south side of Camera Road from Highway 99 to future Bighorn. There's 2 pending annexation projects with a variety of uses that are included in there, and then a third project further down Camera.
Housing, commercial center.
Housing,
parks.
retail, parks, all of that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So before I open up to public comment, in looking at all of the charts, the feedback, and then some sensitive use areas that were brought up maybe after some of our initial studies, we've heard from the charter school, we've heard from Sac Sewer, and just the ratings on this. I'm curious, does anybody have Dwight as their number one? And where I'm going with this is, if there's agreement, I would make a motion to maybe remove that one from discussion at all and then focus on the other two.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your feedback.
I would second that, Mayor, for that, especially for the school, because we mentioned or listed that as a sensitive use, and for whatever reason, it was not captured during that first go-around, so I definitely would support that.
Any other?
No, I would support that. I just given how the surveys turned out, the proximity of where it's at, plus its accessibility to the necessary things that we have discussed tonight. Based on all that information that we received, and looking at the results of the survey, I feel comfortable of removing Dwight from consideration.
What say you to the right? Is that okay?
It certainly
If it's
wouldn't
not
be
one
my
of your
number one.
Yeah.
It's marginally better than another, but I certainly wouldn't have it as number one.
Okay, so do we need this as a formal action, or can we just remove that from consideration? We're good
That's
with
fine,
that?
direction's fine. If
Okay,
you want to remove that
so
from
just for the
consideration.
public, so we are removing Dwight from consideration for the future homeless site. Okay, hold on. There were a number of issues raised, so in the interest of time, in the interest of discussion, those sensitive uses really became striking. The Saba School, the daycare, and a number of other, and Sac Sewer, of course, not limited to what they had to say. And of course, the community feedback was pretty strong. So with that, I'm getting ready to open up public comment, but know that if you have submitted maybe a comment for that, you feel free to remove it, so that when I call your name, you're welcome to, of course, stay. I'd love to continue to see rooms filled like this. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public comment opportunity. And I'd like to just, first of all, before I do that officially, I do want to thank staff for your hard work and diligence with a very open and transparent process. I actually have received a number of feedback from the community that outside of the selection of a location, they really appreciated the process, the information that they received. So I want to thank everybody that helped make this, to get us where we are today. So with that, I'm going to open up public comment. I am going to keep it at 3 minutes, but if you've heard something that you've already, for follow-up speakers, if you've heard something, feel free to shorten it and be concise so that we're not hearing maybe the same points, but it is your 3 minutes. I was, going to maybe restrict this to 2 minutes, but I think eliminating one site, I'm going to give you your fair time here. But you will have 3 minutes. And what I ask is that you be respectful of the speaker, whoever it is, whether you agree or disagree, please give them their time to speak. And just like you will have your fair time to speak as well. So just please be respectful, no shouting or boos. We've visited this before, not the homeless shelter, but other controversial projects. And it makes it very difficult to hear the speaker. So please just be respectful. I really thank you for that. We will go ahead and start with Lorena Riley, followed by George Kaminsky.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lorena Riley, and I serve as the General Manager of the Holiday Inn Express and Suites and Town Place Suites, and a board member of the Explore Elk Grove. While ownership focuses on long-term investment and asset performance, my role is centered on the day-to-day operations of these hotels, our guests, our employees, and the standards we are required to maintain as a nationally flagged hospitality location. I'm here to express concerns regarding the proposed shelter location at 9296 East Stockton Boulevard, directly next to our property. Hotels operate on perception, safety, and guest experience every day. We welcome business travelers, families, tour groups, and visitors who make decisions based not only on the price amenities, but also on how safe and comfortable they feel in the surrounding area. Our team is responsible for maintaining brand standards, including guest satisfaction metrics and property condition benchmarks. Changes in the immediate environment can directly impact online reviews, guest surveys, repeat visitation, and ultimately our status with Marriott. Guests expect a certain environment when staying in the area, and any change that introduces uncertainty can affect booking decisions, particularly for corporate accounts, group businesses that evaluate locations carefully. I want to be clear, we are not opposed to solutions that address homelessness. We understand the need for compassionate services and support the programs. However, site placement matters greatly from an operational perspective. Facilities of this nature should be located where they can operate effectively without creating unintended impacts on surrounding businesses, employees, and visitors. Before moving forward, we would respectfully ask the city to conduct a comprehensive economic and operational impact study to fully understand how this placement could affect hospitality operations, workspace, safety, and visitor perception within this corridor. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next up is George Kaminsky, followed by John Barbour, and I would say the same for claps. We can refrain on those, that would be appreciated too. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Singh, council members, and city staff. I'm a resident that lives a short distance from the proposed center, just around the corner from Fikert Elementary. Been in town since 1983. I'm speaking on behalf of the neighbors that also can't be here as well. Some points, I'm not really looking to ask any questions at this point, just trying to give you some feedback. Some items that I think should be very seriously considered is the proposed shelter is less than a half a mile from the elementary school, Fikert Elementary, on Fikert Drive. We've seen homeless people climbing the wall that separates our residential neighborhood to East Stockton Boulevard. They've actually been coming over the wall periodically and through our neighborhood, so they don't always go around Banff Vista or down to Bond Road. It's too close and unsafe for the children. Our neighbors across the street are considering moving because they have 2 young children that they have to take to Fikert Elementary. It's also too close to our residential neighborhood where we've been there for over 40 years protecting our investments. There's also been some recent crime and some break-ins in the area, which we've never had up until now. Also, we're concerned about the unsightliness. This morning, I was driving down Bond Road, saw another person pushing a cart with all their belongings. A week ago, I was in front of the old CVS on Elk Grove Boulevard, and somebody was camped out under blankets over there. We haven't seen that in the past. We've also seen more trash and abandoned vehicles in the area. It's also right across from the elderly assisted living and right next to a hotel. And I think that should be seriously considered, but most importantly, Fikert Elementary that's so close. If we're eliminating Dwight Road because of a school, why wouldn't we eliminate East Stockton because of the school that's so close as well? Also, we're concerned about our reduced home property values. Newcomers will be reluctant to purchase homes next to a shelter. I'm not opposed to a shelter, and neither is the neighbors, but we believe it should be in an unpopulated neighborhood or area where there's not residential homes that have already been built. If you want to buy a home next to a shelter, that's your option down the future, but to plant one in so close to a residential neighborhood really doesn't make sense to us and our neighbors. Also, our neighbors across the street who have the young kids have been jogging on East Stockton Boulevard. They've had, recently a homeless person was following the wife, made her very nervous. They had a pit bull that became loose from one of the transients that chased her and her husband. And yesterday there were a bunch of broken bottles on East Stockton Boulevard, beer bottles. We've never had that happen before. Also, with the placement of it, it's in my opinion, it's too close to Elk Grove Boulevard, Bond Road, and Laguna. We already see a lot of homeless beggars out in that area.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you for your
very
time.
much.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
next up is John Barbour, followed by Debbie Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. Let me speak tonight. Since this is a low threshold facility, it signals to the public in no uncertain terms that the city anticipates clientele with active and ongoing substance abuse challenges. I don't have to explain to anyone here the unfortunate reality of the difficult behaviors that invariably accompany addiction. In which case, out of respect to the taxpayers who are on the hook funding this project to the tune of $1.5 million a year, or about $4,000 per shelter bed per month, or twice the average monthly rent for a typical Elk Grove apartment, I believe the shelter should be constructed at the Survey Road location. This site received the city's highest marks for safety and security due to its distance from residential neighborhoods and schools, which our community has consistently identified as a top priority. At the same time, it offers proximity to places for potential employment and access, one could argue, to major transit corridors. I urge the council to support this site as the best path forward for Elk Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Debbie Meyer, followed by Matt Monahan.
Good evening, City Council. My tune is a little changed because you now are getting rid of the Dwight Road location, but I'm going to go ahead and say my speech because what I have in here could help with the other locations as well. My name is Debbie Meyer. I serve as the president and owner of Elk Grove's largest sports complex, Elevate Gymnastics Academy. We are one of the businesses on Dwight Road. Each year, we instruct over 2,000 students, host large-scale events, and generate tax revenue for the city and receive long-term support from families whose children participate in our program from early childhood through the high school graduation. This evening, I would like to speak on behalf of the children and families affiliated with Elevate Gymnastics Academy. I recently attended the community meeting hosted by the committee overseeing the homeless shelter project at District 56. Initially, I had reservations about the program. However, and some things are forgetting to be mentioned or reminded that was said, after hearing an informative and comprehensive presentation, my perspective has changed, yet I'm dealing with many families and many children that are concerned. I now support the project, but I would like to address a few specific points for your consideration. First, my initial concern was based on misconceptions about the shelter serving individuals experiencing homelessness due to substance abuse and several mental illnesses being housed near my business. Upon receiving additional information, I learned that the entry into the shelter requires qualification referral. You're not just picking somebody up off the street and throwing them into the shelter. I thought that was a huge point. Therefore, I suggest the city of Elk Grove consider, as you had mentioned, renaming the program as maybe a restart program or a traditional housing project. And I think that would positively have some opinions from the community. I would like to continue on. I appreciate the thorough guidelines established for selecting residents eligible for the shelter. If these rules are consistently enforced, the shelter will offer valuable support to those in need of a new start. Nevertheless, some of my customers have expressed concerns regarding enforcement, specifically the time frame. This hasn't been talked about yet, or maybe I'm just not aware, for removing individuals who do not adhere to the shelter policies, such as violations involving substance use and disregard for curfews and resources. I hope clear procedures can be communicated to ensure prompt resolution of such issues. Third, as a leader of my organization, my foremost responsibility is the safety of our members. The shelter's proximity to Elevate Gymnastics Academy may understandably cause unease among our clientele. This underscores the importance of a robust law enforcement and adherence to established guidelines to maintain a secure environment. I ask the City Council to recognize how crucial effective rule enforcement will be for organizations like ours or any other place that you go to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Matt Monahan, followed by Steve Scott.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Thank you for your service and for holding this important meeting tonight. My name is Matthew Monahan. I've been a resident of Elk Grove since 2003. I live here with my beautiful wife, Michelle, and our 3 children, Michelle, Lily, Landon, and Lane. Some of the city leaders got to meet my wife, Lane, at one of the meetings. So thank you guys for holding those. I am going to shorten my deal. I was here to protest the Dwight location, so thank you for your wise decision-making regarding that. This is the first time in 49 years that I've ever attended or been the least bit interested in what the city or council have been up to. The council, since its inception, has done an amazing job representing, protecting, and responsibly developing our city. I am here to express my support for the homeless shelter. My family and I have supported homeless individuals trying to make the difficult foundational changes in their lives and numerous homeless organizations over the years. I believe that the proposed plan has the potential to be a model for cities looking to support a smaller population of homeless individuals in a transitional phase. The problem and why I'm here, it was quite absurd and really disturbing, right? It had to do around the study and around the Dwight location and what the council addressed here tonight with some of the sensitive uses around there. So I do thank you for that. I would say that, in support of maybe some of the other locations, you do not have to choose between the safety of your hardworking, law-abiding citizens and compassion for the homeless. You must not choose between compassion and the seniors and children's safety in whatever site you choose. I work with a dangerous commodity and understand when you make poor decisions, emotional decisions, when you go down a dangerous path and when you make a single mistake, horrible things can happen. You are dealing with a dangerous element where one mistake will devastate a family or a community and potentially your legacy as a member of this body. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys, and I know you'll make the right decision.
Thank you. Next up is Steve Scott, followed by Mackenzie Weezer.
Good evening, Mayor Singh Allen and Vice Mayor Swin and the rest of the council. My name's Steve Scott. I'm a natural resource supervisor for Sacramento Area Sewer District. In light of your decision tonight to remove the Dwight Road from site from consideration, I'm not going to stick with my original comments, but I did want to commend city staff for the excellent work they did on developing the project. The public outreach meetings were exceptional. Everyone I talked to there was informative and cooperative, and it was a great experience. And I just wanted to commend your efforts not only for this project that's upcoming, but also for your previous efforts. Reducing illegal camping in the area by 65%. Just great work all around. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Mackenzie Weezer, followed by Danny Hamilton.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Mackenzie Weezer with Sacramento Splash. In light of your removal of the Dwight Road location, I don't really need to say my comment, so I'm going to give you your time back. However, don't forget about us. We bring 7,000 kids right on the other side of that wall, which actually becomes county property. So for enforcement purposes, I'm just very relieved. Enforcement's amazing. I didn't even know the homeless shelter was in the Calvary location, and I ride my bike over that footbridge, and I have seen a huge improvement. I ride at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I used to encounter people all the time, and I've not seen a person in the last 6 months. So I think we should really applaud the city and the staff for all of their excellent work. Response time's incredibly fast as well if there's someone out camping. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Danny Hamilton. Then it's O'Deary Naper.
Hello, thanks for having me. First of all, congratulations to Dwight Road. We see really big smiles from the people from Dwight Road. Unfortunately, I happen to live in the other location where there is families and homes in the area, and that is a concern to us in a big way. So based on everything that I've heard and that I've seen, from these surveys and the everything that we have it indicates that this is something that we care deeply about. We're worried about this for our families, right? So when this facility became into existence over there by the church, instantly it's like, my daughter is starting to walk that way, and there's people that use drugs in that area. It's a problem, right? So I don't know how often she was actually in the area, going over the path, but I'm there all the time. We see it. It's a problem. So the biggest thing is that, being in the area, one of the things that we did was we actually canvassed the entire area, knocked on every door. And the people in the area said the exact same thing. They said that it was a problem. That one after another, they voiced their frustration and their anger with having to deal with the repercussions of having a homeless shelter in the middle of their neighborhood. They spoke about the drug and the substance abuse, the theft, vandalism, including the break into cars, blight on the street, people going through their recycle cans and making a mess, and some passed out on the sidewalks. My own mom, she's 75. She has a home two doors down from mine. One of these individuals was in her garage trying to look at one of her bikes that had a basket on the back. She said, no, that's not something that you can have. But they persisted. They came back twice. So this is persistent, and they do come through there with regularity. They also travel right by the school. So what I would ask is that you think about that. Like, we want to be safe in our community. There's a place you can put this that makes sense for everybody, safe for them, safe for us, and we would like to have that. That's all I'd like to say. So thank you.
Thank you. O'Deary Naper. And once again, just a friendly reminder, we have removed the Dwight proposal from consideration. So if you have submitted, feel free not to speak. You can remove your request over there where you turned in your slip. Sorry about that. Continue.
No worries. My name's O'Deary Napper. Thank you to the council. I was here to oppose the Dwight Road, but I don't have to do that because you guys did remove it from the list. So I just wanted to say thank you for that and urge you to keep it off the list. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Shari Wilson, followed by Latasha Johnson. And if I've called your name and you're for Dwight, you can just let us know before you come up that you don't want to speak.
Hello, everyone. So I've been a resident here for almost 23 years now. I'm a business owner and once almost homeless. And so I know we need a shelter here in Elk Grove. I also know that we had one right there off of Elk Grove Boulevard and Waterman, and we really didn't have any issues at all. I'm just coming up to advocate for this. I prefer it to be in 95624. Why? So I can get there fast and help and give my support. We don't know. We have neighbors. We have apartments. We have so much going on in Elk Grove. They're doing drugs in there. The sooner we get these people off the street, the faster they won't numb themselves with alcohol and drugs. Right now, my business is in Old Town, and I do have people sleeping in front of my salon, and I prefer them to be in a bed, a warm bed. And so I'm for the shelter, and you guys have my support. The big MVP is David, right? He is amazing. We have people walking up and down the street all the time. He's quick, and he's loving on these people, and I just want us to just give back and love on our citizens. These are our neighbors, so I thank you. Please go watch No Address, and maybe your heart will soften.
Thank you, Shari. Next up, Latasha Johnson, followed by Tammy Silvera. I'm assuming Latasha is gone. Is there a Latasha in the hallway? We'll come back to you if you're here. Maybe Latasha was with it. Are you Latasha? Yeah. Okay. All right, next up is Tammy Silvera, and after Tammy is Melissa Stone.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Tammy Silvera. I've been a resident of the city of Elk Grove for the past 30 years, and I'm also the Elk Grove Unified School District's homeless liaison. The Elk Grove Unified School District Student and Family Empowerment Program supports children and families that are experiencing homelessness as defined by the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. We sometimes forget that there are also children in our community who are experiencing homelessness as we focus so heavily on our single adults. The EGUSD SAFE program has been actively partnering with the city's housing support program, Elk Grove Heart, and our other providers and partners throughout the city and the county in the planning of this homeless shelter. For the past 4 years, EGUSD has seen a steady increase in the number of school-age children experiencing homelessness. During the 24-25 school year, we identified over 1,700 students in our school district who would be living in transition. There is a need for a permanent shelter in this community, and as was already shared, one that will support families with children as well as single adults. We can't forget that the shelter is meant to also support families with children. Critical issues for the location of the shelter, in contrary to some of what's been shared, is the proximity to public transportation, pedestrian and bicycle accessibility and safety for school-age children, and access to schools, daycares, and other services that families with children will need. We look forward to our continued work with the City of Elk Grove in the planning and development of the shelter, and we hope that you take some of the aspects of what a family shelter needs in consideration in terms of your location. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Stone. After Melissa, Christy Comer.
Hi, good evening. I am a resident of the neighborhood adjacent to the current shelter and the proposed location for the East Stockton shelter. And today I'd like to use my time to personify what it means to be a sensitive use. I feel like that language is very generic, that the green circles are not scores. They are used to persuade without any data to support. I've asked at the meeting, I asked Christopher directly, I've also emailed each of you and asked that we could see the data that went into the scoring. It's unclear to me how East Stockton Road, which is directly adjacent to a neighborhood, could be green as well as Survey Road. I am not against the project. I am just against the prioritization of the needs of 20 to 25 citizens over the needs of the community. I'd like you to think about the human side of the neighborhood as well. We've seen a wonderful presentation on the human side of those residents that are going to be in the shelter, but the human side of the neighborhood. Some of the claims that were made, I don't feel reflect how it has been to live there. We don't call the cops every time. I've had my son's car broken into since the shelter has been there. I didn't call because what are they going to do? It's already broken into. We have people coming up and down our street. We report it through the app. We have shopping carts, trash dumped on sidewalks. The city has said that they don't allow individuals to do drugs or use alcohol on the property. We see individuals step just outside the property. They tuck into the neighborhoods where the elementary school is to do those activities. I'd also like to talk about the broken promises of the city with the temporary shelter, which was placed without any input from us. The city promised to take care of the property. It has been in disarray, in worse shape than it was when the church was there, which I think is not out of respect for the community or the residents that live there. There has been drug use, as I said. There has been claims that there was an individual that, the city said that they would be vetting everyone that went into the shelter. When our neighbors walked around, they talked to a parole officer that said that there was an individual evicted from the shelter that was a convicted sex offender that was in under a false name. That really brings to light concerns about the vetting process of the city. The response times of the police department, while they do respond, it's very reactive. There hasn't been proactive management of the individuals in and around the neighborhood. We were told they wouldn't walk through our neighborhood. They would be using the frontage road. That hasn't been the case. They frequently cut through to Bond Road or Elk Grove. You can also cut through, which would also go by McKee Elementary School if you want to get to Elk Grove Florin. It is a very connected neighborhood. Sarah Bontrager said that their goal is to help the community, and I urge you to help the entire community, not prioritize the needs of 20 individuals or 20 beds over the needs of the neighboring community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Christy Comer and Frank Lucia.
I was primarily here with regards to Dwight Road as well, as that's near my home. However, I still wanted to support the other neighborhood as I share their concerns. And I'm not just here for my own neighborhood. I'm here for Elk Grove as a whole. The safety of the families who live in the areas of the proposed shelter location is as important as the needs of those who would seek help from the shelter. It is not lacking compassion for those in need to also seek for the welfare and safety of the existing residents. Unfortunately, while there are individuals and families who will come to the shelter in good faith, it is important to acknowledge the reality that even the most well-meaning homeless shelter does draw people who don't mean well. The fact that the shelter will not be doing drug testing of those staying there, for example, raises the concern that it will increase the likelihood of drug activity in the surrounding area, and as a result, increases in crime. It was also very worrying that at the meeting I attended, when directly asked if people with violent felony records would be allowed to stay in the shelter, a straight answer was never given. The fact that those who are planning this knew that the community survey showed that the main concern residents had about the shelter location was its proximity to sensitive areas like schools and homes, and yet 2 of the original 3 proposed locations are right in the middle of these things, does not inspire confidence that those running the facility will listen to the concerns of the residents nearby should things come up once it is built. While I do not believe that either of the locations are in the best interest of the surrounding neighborhoods and businesses, I would ask that the City Council choose the Survey Road location for the shelter, as it is the farthest from sensitive areas such as homes and schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank Lucia, and after that, Julie Solis.
Good evening, Mayor Singh, Allen, and members of the board. I'm here with Elk Grove Heart, and I'm here to not advocate for a location for the shelter, but to advocate for a shelter for children. We do not have options in this city for families in our shelters. We do have a voucher program, hotel voucher program, that is sometimes used, as well as we're opening up a couple of transitional houses for families. But there are a lot, as it's already been stated, a lot of issues out there right now with homeless families, particularly single moms with children. So I thank you for the work that has been done with the city, the staff, and the council, and I wish you the best. I'm glad I'm not in your seat. That's a tough decision to make, but it has to be done. Thank you.
Good to see you, Frank.
Thank you. Julie Solis, followed by Debbie Schoenschaffer.
Hi, my name is Julie Solis. I am a 28-year citizen of Elk Grove, and I also have a small business on East Stockton Boulevard. I own one of the commercial condos. It's actually directly across the street, and I share a lot of the concerns with the owners, and unfortunately, a few of them weren't able to attend, but we had attended a meeting last week. Many of us didn't find out until the last probably month that this was going on. Unfortunately, the commercial condos and the entire street is filled with them. This blocked one of the owners was selling 2 units, and the deals actually fell through because of this. So they're holding right now. It's affecting our property values. We're very concerned about this. I moved my business that I've had for 20 years from Laguna Boulevard over to East Stockton, and this is impacting a business that serves mostly women in the community. I think everyone here is probably, I keep hearing this over and over, we're all very sensitive and we want the service for our community, but everyone feels like, it sounds like everyone feels that this is not what we signed up for. We want to have a service, but when you buy a neighborhood or you buy a commercial building, you put your business there. We didn't ask for this to be put into our neighborhood. It seems like there's a very clear option on Survey Road where it's going to be the least impactful for the city, and I think that alone would foster probably a better community, just overall feeling when it's not impacting the local neighborhoods. And there are a lot of homeless issues on East Stockton Boulevard. We've had them in our center. If the tenants move away, if nobody takes these units, what happens is, I've owned this for 6 years, when nobody's there in these units, homeless people come in. When I first bought the building, and I have 25% of the entire center that I own, when I wasn't in there, what happens is homeless people live in our garbage dumpsters. We had somebody who had crack pipes and they were on top of the building living. So these are concerns. And I would hope too in the future, it'd be great if we could have more police presence, whatever happens. But unfortunately, there is a pretty big homeless issue on that street. So I'm hoping that you'll take a look at that as well. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Debbie Schoen-Schaefer, followed by Christina Albright.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm with Elk Grove Heart, and the present shelter has been such a huge success. In all honesty, better than I thought it would have been. So many caring community members are there each week to serve dinner and to get to know the people that are there and to realize that's just what they are, people. It's helped to break the stigma. Today I was at the Adamstown House, which is a permanent house for 6 seniors and opening up soon. One who's moving in is Arthur, who's presently at the shelter. He's a veteran, and he's there because he's disabled. He had a stroke and uses a walker. He's a sweet man and has won everyone over. And Lisa, the new house leader, also is coming from the shelter. She works full-time and will be going to CRC soon. Her future is so bright, and she is darling. Printed on the front of the handout given at the shelter meetings is the sentence, Elk Grove, a compassionate city. Thank you for all you have done to make that a true statement. I don't care where the shelter goes. I just care that it's built so we can continue to have the ability to support people by giving them a hand up and out of homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Albright, followed by James Wu.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Christina Albright. I'm a third-generation lifelong resident of Elk Grove and a retired police officer, having worked for both the Elk Grove Police Department and the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. I currently work as a mental health professional, and my passion for both of these careers means I strongly believe in the importance of community safety and compassionate solutions for people experiencing homelessness. I've followed this process very closely, as you know, and I want to focus on something simple. The city made a significant effort to engage the community through surveys, meetings, and outreach, and that matters. But engagement only builds trust when the results are honored. Residents have told you what mattered most. The data in your own staff report is clear. At the beginning of the process, distance from sensitive uses was ranked as the highest priority at 46%. This represents a very wide margin, as the second priority was only 18%. More recently, after significant opportunities for the community to understand the various locations considered, when residents were asked for site preference, Survey Road was selected as the first choice by the largest share of respondents, approximately 42%. It also ranked highest in the weighted preference model. The primary argument against the Survey Road appears to be transportation access. From an operational perspective, transportation is a controllable variable. The staff report shows the Survey Road site carries significantly lower acquisition and development costs compared to East Stockton location. The difference represents millions of dollars. Instead of forcing a site closer to sensitive areas, including a substantially large elderly care facility directly across the street, the city can invest in structured transportation solutions. Even a portion of the annual savings by the selection of the survey site could provide a transportation system for shelter residents. Dedicated shuttles, scheduled service routes, or rideshare partnerships will ensure shelter guests have reliable access to services, jobs, healthcare, and transit while still leaving taxpayers financially ahead. This directed approach solves the operational challenge without disregarding community priorities. Strong policy decisions align process, data, and community voice. You created the process. The data clearly points to Survey Road. The community voice is clear. Tonight is about demonstrating that public engagement is meaningful and that when residents participate, their voices help shape the outcome. Many residents felt disenfranchised when the temporary shelter was placed in our residential neighborhood without community input or consideration of the significant quality of life impact it has created. We came to the open houses and asked you to remain transparent in engagement. As such, you honored us when you asked us what matters. You listened before, and I'm asking you to listen again. The community has spoken. We all know that shelters work best when they're placed thoughtfully, balancing accessibility with minimized unintended impacts on neighborhoods. Successful projects depend on community buy-in. Council members, you have the opportunity tonight to reinforce trust in public engagement. Honor the survey results, honor the priorities that you set. Choose Survey Road, the location that reflects both fiscal responsibility and the voices of the residents you represent. Thank you for your time and dedication to the incredible city that I love and I'm proud to call home.
Thank you.
Oh, I was waiting for my bell.
No, you finished in time. James Wu, now after James is David Hutchinson.
You had 1 second, Christina.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is James Wu. I'm the owner of, with WS Management, owner and operator of the Holiday Inn Express and Town Place Suites Elk Grove. In addition to my professional role, this issue is personal to me. My parents and extended family live in Elk Grove, and myself lived here for many years. I'm deeply tied to this community and care about its long-term success, safety, and economic vitality. I'm here to express concerns regarding the proposed shelter location at 9296 East Stockton Boulevard, adjacent to our hotel properties. This corridor is one of the Elk Grove's primary commercial and hospitality areas. It includes active retail, restaurants, hotels, and nearby residential neighborhoods. Many of us have invested significant capital, time, and effort to help drive the economic success of this area and, by extension, the city of Elk Grove as a whole. The proposed placement of this facility at this location raises legitimate concerns about safety, economic impact, and the signal it sends to existing and prospective businesses evaluating investment in our community. Our two hotel properties alone generate more than $1.6 million annually in tourism assessment, transient occupancy tax, and property tax revenues. These revenues directly support tourism promotion, public safety, infrastructure, and city services. A project of this nature located immediately adjacent to the hospitality and retail uses carries the risk of negatively affecting occupancy rate, visitor perception, and overall corridor vitality. Even modest declines in performance can translate into meaningful reductions in public revenue. We're not opposed to the solutions that support individuals experiencing homelessness. We recognize the need for thoughtful and compassionate responses. However, site selection matters. Location decisions should be informed by comprehensive analysis, including a transparent economic impact study that evaluates the short and long-term fiscal effects. At this time, we have not seen sufficient research data or data addressing these concerns. As business owners and long-term members of this community, we respectfully request transparency, accountability, and a clear understanding of the economic implications before a final decision is made. We ask the City Council to commission and review a formal economic impact study prior to moving forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next up is David Hutchinson, then Mark Doty.
Mayor, council members, again, my name is Dave Hutchinson. I'm a 40-year resident of Elk Grove. We moved here, there were 20,000 people. So I would like to, I'm here basically to thank you for your efforts and your courage in pushing this forward, and for the exemplary work that your staff has done through this process. I've been a structural engineer doing building design for 47 years, sat through countless meetings with owners, architects, other engineers, and we have developed through the design build community a technique called choosing by advantages, where you actually take subjective topics like which color do you like best on the wall, or how far is far enough from a neighborhood to a shelter, or how close is too close, and put numbers to it, making something that's subjective into an objective, numerically oriented data point that you can make intelligent, informed decisions. Your staff has done that, okay? You can question their relative weighting of these advantages, but they have taken a very thoughtful and thorough and transparent approach to do this. You should be proud of all of their efforts. So I think it's maybe clear I'm very, very supportive of putting a shelter in. I've volunteered with different local charities to go out and help these people. They need our help. And again, looking at the long-term benefit, to me, it's pretty straightforward. We have homeless on the street. You bring them into a shelter, you get them into programs that can help them. What do we look like in 30 years? Maybe there's nobody on the street. I mean, that's the future that we need to look forward to. So anyhow, I'm here to thank you. I'm very proud to be a resident of Elk Grove, and I'll end by saying thank you for balancing the budget.
Thank you. Mark Doty, followed by Latasha Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor. My name is Mark Doty. If you don't know, I'm a member of the City's Trails Committee. I'm not here to speak on their behalf, just myself, but just wanted to throw that out there. I also wanted to talk just because I think I have a unique perspective on the Trails Committee. I serve monthly at the current location. We'll continue to. A group of us from my church serve every once a month. We've talked to many of the homeless individuals there. There's, they run the gamut. And a lady spoke earlier about Arthur. I've met him, sweet guy. There's other characters there that are clearly high or on drugs at the time. You know, they didn't maybe do the drugs while they were on site, but it's happening. So as far as the trail goes, that's one thing I want to talk about. So the current location and the East Stockton location are both very close to the trail. It's a double-edged sword. I want people to use our trails. I'm an advocate for trails in our community. At the same time, I heard from a lot of people that are very upset about the current location because the trail and the bridge across 99 oftentimes they feel unsafe. So I'm concerned with that. The current the East Stockton location that is being considered now is very close to that as well, along with other trail uses. So to me, that's difficult. I don't have a horse in this race. I don't live in any of these areas, but if I think just looking at it objectively, I think Survey Road needs to be your preferred choice. I know, Mr. Soon, you were talking about future uses. The area across 99 is going to be developed, but to get there is going to be, you're going to have to go around, get across the freeway to get there. You know, the industrial uses, there are some businesses there that will be impacted. Flatland Brewery will be impacted, but looking at it on a whole, I think that's got to be your location that you pick. The transportation element is a little confusing to me because as Vice Mayor Soon and staff pointed out, their shelter residents currently are not using our transportation system. So waiting that seems kind of silly. Most of them are on bikes from what I've seen, or they're getting rides. So that could happen at the Survey Road location. And again, I think the future development impacts are fairly minimal. I know there's the Mavericks going in there, but that's all like industrial type uses, and I think that's the best location. And I'm not going to run out of time, so thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Latasha Johnson. Is Latasha here? All right. Latasha was signed up to be our final speaker here, so I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. And applaud all of you for maintaining positivity, decorum, and and being very respectful. No cheers, no boos, any of that. So thank you all for being respectful of the time and of each other. Really, really appreciate it. Appreciate all of you coming out. We know that this is important for the city of Elk Grove and to our amazing residents. Before we open up here for deliberations, do we need a comfort break, maybe 5 minutes to go use the restroom? Because we want to hear and talk to each other. So I'm just going to pause here for 5 minutes, and you feel free to go to the restroom, refill your waters, and we'll come back and start the deliberations. All right, can my colleagues please return and take your seats so we can begin? Anyone itching to go first? If not, I'm going to start. I will go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, I'll start.
Councilmember Spies.
Sure. Okay, so very briefly, I want to start with gratitude. First, thank you to the Elk Grove taxpayers for approving Measure E. The vote wasn't just funding. It was direction. You told us your priorities, and one was clear: address homelessness. We heard you, and we acted. Over the past 2 years, we've made real progress. A temporary shelter, stronger coordination, and dedicated work from our homeless outreach team, who's in the back. I see you back there, David. Our homeless outreach team, housing staff, public works, police, the city manager's office, and our our community partners and volunteers. This year alone, we're investing $4.5 million to help people avoid homelessness, to get back on their feet, and to reduce impacts on our neighborhoods. This only happens because of your trust. We listened then, and we're listening tonight. I also want to thank my council colleagues, the mayor and the city manager. When we chose the temporary site, winter was approaching, and we had to move fast. Transparency wasn't where we wanted to be. The transparency wasn't where we wanted to be. This time, we made a commitment to do better, to slow down, to be transparent, and to truly listen. So I looked carefully at 3 things. First, the staff analysis. The next is the community input. And lastly, looking deeper at the safety data. Now, according to the staff report, all 3 sites are technically viable. The community poll ranked Survey first. And again, what ultimately drove my decision was safety. A recent Sacramento Bee analysis showed that 28% of people killed in traffic crashes were homeless. 28% of people killed in Sacramento in traffic accidents were homeless. And that most fatal crashes occur on roads posted at 40 miles per hour or higher. Wider roads mean faster cars and wider roads. I didn't get enough sleep last night, believe it or not. I was thinking about all this. Wider roads mean faster cars and longer exposure for pedestrians. Now, that's not abstract, right? That's exactly the population we are addressing and the environments we're choosing among. East Stockton is 40 miles per hour with heavier traffic and limited sidewalks. Dwight is 35. Survey is 25 with sidewalks and lower volume. If we know people will be walking every day, placing them on a high-speed arterial simply adds risks we don't need to accept. Transportation challenges can be solved. Safety risks at 40 miles per hour cannot. Survey also has the lowest acquisition cost and the fewest adjacent conflicts. To resolve the issue of transportation at Survey Road, I suggest that we can add a fleet electric 9-passenger van. So when I weigh safety, cost, and the clear preference of our residents, the responsible choice becomes straightforward. Our job tonight is to follow both the data and the direction our community has already given us. And for those reasons, I support ranking Survey first. I recognize that we removed Dwight second, but then East Stockton is third in the consideration.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Robles, you're next.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I just want to say thank you to staff for the hard work on this. Thank you for the residents who have been proactive throughout every committee meeting that we've had. This is something that a lot of the residents in Elk Grove felt that it was a need to allow there to be a permanent homeless shelter. And they voiced their opinions through the Measure E and what we're going to be spending. Going back to the models of everything that has been occurring for the homeless shelter, I really don't like that word in a sense, because for me, the way I see it, it's for folks who we have vetted and we're going to continue to vet and eventually receive help to get better, right? It's those folks who want to get better who will be in this shelter. And what I believe is that it's those folks who want to get better who are also going to be taking care of this place that they're going to call home. I truly appreciate that Heart was out here today, Elk Grove Heart, because they talked about the importance and they put stories behind people. We're here to make a difference. Again, when I first were talking about questionings, we were elected to make tough decisions. And sometimes these tough decisions aren't popular. And that is okay, because at the end of the day, it's about our whole greater community as a whole. And how are we going to invest a lot of these Measure E fundings? And how are we going to make that impact? I did talk about the economic study because I do want to make sure that we're looking at all aspects, not just one specific aspect, but all aspects of how we approach and how we pick a location and a place for this. And even for our own Elk Grove outreach team, thank you, because you are making a difference in our city. These are stories, interactions that you're having with individuals who, from beginning to the end, to a placement of actually living and sustaining themselves and being in homes that other folks in this area will not see. 178,000 residents will not see that, but you've made that impact, you've made that investment, and we appreciate you. We can't say thank you enough for that. So I think when looking at where to select specific on the ranking side, again, we go back to, we're going to be selecting the ranking side, and then we're going to be seeing if we're going to be able to purchase. I'm going to look that way, correct? Right. So this is to see if we can actually engage in conversations to develop it. There's been many conversations, and I want to thank Councilman Suen for bringing up the aspect of what's the transportation. Are they more on bus? Are they more on foot or riding bicycles? Or do we provide transportation? And I think this is going to be something that the reality is, as a city, we're going to have to take on, because we're not only going to manage this and see it, we're also going to be providing transportation. That's the reality, right? And whether we get a smaller location or a bigger location, the truth is we're looking at allowing the ability for there to be a shelter for folks so that, one, they can get better and then eventually become part of our society. Always a tough decision to make. We're not going to solve homelessness. This isn't something that's going to solve California's issue, but we are trying to solve our own issue, and it's also taking care of our folks. So when looking at this, we're looking at it in a compassionate standpoint of view. So for that, again, I kind of want to hear more where my colleagues want to see and wanted to go and see the position. But I am going to be in supportive. I just want to see where everyone else is going to be on.
So you don't have a preference right now you want to identify?
Yeah, no
Okay.
preference.
All right, we'll then go to Councilmember Brewer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. This is a very interesting issue, a very healthy debate, a healthy discussion, because everyone has their own perspective, and it should be heard, and it should be seen, and it should be respected, because we all want to see Elk Grove become an ideal community. We just have different approaches of getting there, and that's okay. At the end of the day, we do have an ethical and moral obligation to care for one another. If you are in disagreement with that, I will be praying for you. These sites that we have before us in the beginning of this whole discussion, because the temporary homeless shelter on the corner of Waterman and Elk Grove Boulevard was in District 2, my district. And as you guys know, I have the largest district of the 4 city districts. I have the Old Town, I have Sheldon, I have the rural community, and I have the area of the, over by Survey Road, and I have the area from Sky River Casino to Bruceville Road, sandwiched between Cameron Road and White Lock. And as the southern area of town, which is that area sandwiched between White Lock and Cameron Road, continues to grow and develop, is how do we make a healthy community on both sides of Highway 99? And in doing so, how does that contribute to making a healthier community for all of Elk Grove? Listening to tonight's back and forth, I couldn't help but look at the phrase that I always stick to, which is a paraphrase of Genesis 4:9. Am I my brother's keeper? I've always believed that. That is in my family's creed. I stand by it every day. That is how I judge on social issues, in being responsible, but also being accountable, not only to myself, but to all of you. And this is not that hard of a decision for me, because looking at the 3 things that I've always worked by and lived by, of hard work, faith, humility, accountability, it's all based in restoring others gently, love one another, be kind and compassionate. And it's consistent, it's unwavering. Some people will disagree with me, some people will think I'm full of it, but that's who I am. I'm fully authentic. What you see is what you get. And I don't change. I'm not trying to change, because if I do that, I do a disservice to all of you, and I do a disservice to my family. The dialogue that took place over the last few months on the facility itself, or as Councilmember Robles, he doesn't want to call it a shelter, I'll call it a refuge. We're giving people a chance to get on their feet and get back on their feet. When we were at the temporary shelter over here feeding our residents a couple of months ago, I ran into a woman who shook me to my core, because she used to work with me in the California State Senate. She was retired. She thought her benefits would carry her over and would carry her payments. Unfortunately, cost of living, the economies of scale, put her in a position where she could no longer live in her current apartment, and she found herself homeless. And as she found herself homeless, she is at that shelter trying to make sense of what happened so she can get herself back on track. That is the purpose of that facility, not just to help her, but to help others that we saw. I saw young, we saw old. Yes, we saw some drug addicts, and we saw some who were trying to get off of drugs. But that is the charge that we are doing. That is why it is there, to help give people a fighting chance. That is why we have a hot team that goes out and identifies people. That is why the staff at the Gathering Inn makes the task of deciding whether those individuals can live by the rules that are set there. If not, they have to go. And that's just the way it is. One of the things I thought before that shelter was even there, and before we even did the temporary homeless shelter, there were individuals going through that very neighborhood out in Banff Vista that were setting off loud fireworks, firecrackers in the middle of the night. They sound like bombs. They were doing them in Hampton Village and in other parts nearest on the other side of the highway in Madera Ranch in its early infancy. And that wasn't by a homeless person. That was by a person who thought that they were being thrill seekers. When a refuge is placed in a different location, will those things stop? And do we blame it on the homeless? Are we our brother's keeper? And are we here to restore and love? I see two facilities. At the end of the day, because myself and Councilmember Spees at the time, we were very much in agreement. We were not going to have a refuge in our district because we are already sharing the burden with Coral Rose, which used to be the Oak Rose apartment, or Coral Blossom. That's now the Oak Rose, and the temporary homeless shelter. We thought there should be a shared responsibility throughout the city. But in the workshops, we found that there were two locations that stood out amongst the other spots. And they were in 95624, both of our shared districts. And it's a reality you have to accept, especially based on the scoring of the dots that took place at the workshops. You see the results, you accept the results, and you prepare yourself to serve the community as much as humanly possible. Dwight Road was never a consideration for me because it was too far away and it doesn't give you the access to sort of transportation that you need for healthcare, especially if someone's in dire straits, especially if you have a family whose kid is sick. It was never in my field stream of consciousness. If it's going to be on 95624, let it be near the highway. That way we can get them to Kaiser or Sutter or Methodist in as quick a manner as possible. When it comes down to the two places that we have, you have the one on East Stockton Boulevard, you have the one on Survey Road. They're both on Highway 99. They both have their challenges, they both have their merits. But the one that stuck out to me most was the one on East Stockton Boulevard because it was central to everything else. Because by putting it down on Survey Road was my second option, but a very close second option. But the only impediment to all of that is this location, transit, and getting people out for kids going to school, folks going to work, transit going to healthcare or mental health services. Those were obstacles. But given how that area is going to grow and going to change, for me, that was an easy second choice. My first choice, unwavering, is East Stockton Boulevard because of where it's at now. It takes 3 years to develop, and it'll be done. But if we go at Survey Road, I'm not upset about that either. But should it go to Survey Road, my question will be, are we really fulfilling our mission to be compassionate and loving and restoring each other? Or are we really looking to do something to make ourselves feel better? That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to start by reiterating my thanks to the city staff, again, for the tremendous work that they did in doing the outreach to our community. And I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues for the community for coming out and being, engaging in this issue, also with compassion. A couple of things on both of those notes. One, 99% of the comments, anecdotally, of course, that I received was where a homeless shelter should be, not whether or not we needed one. So I think that's, bless you, I think that's, a huge testament, again, to the work that staff had done in our city, our community, our compassionate community, recognizing that need. And then along those lines, when we decided to take out one of the sites, the residents that came here to speak on behalf of that site stood up here and talked about how they were going to speak for the other residents. And it just, reaffirmed that we are one Elk Grove. And we talk about that up here all the time, that all of us, now that we're separated out by districts, but we still recognize we are all one city. And tonight, you all in the community exemplified that by those comments. So thank you. As it pertains to the shelter locations, my first consideration is a shelter. is making sure we're able to get folks off the street. You heard earlier tonight, 65% reduction in homeless encampments, dozens of people getting into housing. That means there's not more homeless people each year, right? So making sure we have something that can manage, because unfortunately, I think we'll be contending with this issue, for decades. I wish that would not be true. I hope I'm wrong, but I mean, from what we know today, I think it's going to take a long time. So we need a shelter, period. I wanted to also take the moment to apologize to the business community on behalf of the city, because that was a shortcoming on our part. We were focused on the sensitive areas. We were focused on the cost of construction. We were focused on the services for the residents. We were focused on transportation, and we fell short of that on the business side. So we want to acknowledge that. But when I look at the two sites, I think about the community that's already there, and some people talked about that tonight, and we saw the data in the resident. I think Ms. Albright earlier mentioned it too. The data is obvious on the choice, and again, that's a reflection of the community that's already there. And when I was also thinking, and as I was looking on the map, and why I asked Mr. Jordan about what's planned for the future to remind us all, is because we're not in a static environment. I mean, this is, these are permanent locations that we're envisioning. So this will be here when it's built, 3, maybe 4 years from now. We'll have a different Elk Grove. Things will be built that wasn't built before. And so all the progress that we continue to make throughout the city will also happen on the southern edge of the city. Where there isn't services today, there will be. Where there isn't places to buy food and a convenience store, there will be. When that connector goes through, we do have bike lanes on there too. And it's a connector, but we are designing it to be a multimodal facility. And the good thing about having resources, getting back to our first item on this agenda tonight, the good thing about having resources, the mid-year budget, is that we can supplement any site that we have, any shortcomings that may be there, whether it be transportation, safety, even services at the site itself. We can augment that facility and make it a premier, if you will, a premier shelter for those residents. So with that in mind, I would say Survey would be my first choice, followed by obviously the East Stockton as my second. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Robles, did you want to weigh in right now, or do you want for me to continue? Are you sure? All right, thank you. Thank you to my colleagues for your very, very thoughtful comments. I know that these decisions don't come easy. I know that this has been weighing on a lot of us. It's been weighing on me. It's not often that we have these critical decisions. Well, I think all of our decisions are important, but something this critical obviously brings a number of residents to weigh in. And when residents weigh in, I also believe that it's our civic responsibility to listen. I've had heartburn on all of the locations. There are strengths and weaknesses on all of them. So how do you narrow it from there? I reached out to a number of stakeholders. I read all the comments, read all the emails, of course, the staff report thoroughly. But then I also talked to others whose input I value. I talked to a number of police officers, firefighters. I even talked to our tribal chairman, Jesus Tarango, earlier today. I talk to businesses, residents. While this is not directly in my backyard, as the mayor, this impacts our city. I live less than 20 houses away from a transitional home that experiences a number of issues throughout the year, but it's through that great partnership with the police department that they are very responsive to the immediate neighbors for the transitional home. And I live in Stone Lake. Property values have not gone down. I can assure you, they have not. I also read some emails that were very disheartening and troubling to me. It's easy to blame people of color, people that are poor, that are homeless, for a lot of society's woes. That really saddens me. Without proof, my mother always told me when I was growing up, never blame someone for anything unless you've seen it with your own eyes or it's on a camera. It's just easy to blame someone, when we begin to other people. There's so much already in this country that is disheartening, this us versus them mentality. What I am proud of tonight, all of you stood up and said that you did support having a shelter in the city of Elk Grove. That in and of itself deserves great praise. So I want to thank you and I commend all of you for speaking up for those who cannot often speak for themselves. This is an important decision, and I get that. In talking to some of the businesses, it wasn't that long ago that I served as a board member for a statewide organization for 8 years called Visit California. We talk about travel and tourism, destination marketing for coming to this great state, and the impact that hotels can have from even perceived elements. That is the unfortunate part. A lot of this is perception driven. But that perception becomes reality. It just takes a few reviews to knock somebody off. I'm also reminded of the brewing company near Survey Road that will suffer because of the same exact thing. Those weigh on me. This has not been an easy decision. I have gone back and forth on the various locations for different reasons. But my resolve this evening is where the numbers are, having that informed, data-driven decision-making. Those numbers tell a story. If we demand of our staff to get feedback, and we get back feedback, and we ignore it, then shame on us. We ask for that feedback for a reason. You become part of that data-driven decision-making. It is instrumental. You are invaluable stakeholders. That story is quite clear. And that story, if you just look at the numbers from affordability, for scale, for what the community expects, how they have weighed what is considered an acceptable location with the least amount of impact to not just neighborhoods, but for businesses. I too want to recognize that we should have reached out to the business community. I proudly always say during my speeches when we have grand openings and other business-related events that Elk Grove is open for business. I mean that. And so you are an invaluable stakeholder in the decision-making process. So wearing that sort of Visit California hat, and as someone who has represented the business community professionally for 25 years, I know that those concerns are real. Whether they are based on perception or reality, they still have real-life impact. The cost of building something like this. We're talking, you're almost separated by $5 million, maybe even more, from site to site. But we're really only looking at 2 sites. I think honestly, there's only one that I feel comfortable voting on today, because it's not going under construction tomorrow. While it may not have all of the desired amenities, this is not a permanent residence. This is a shelter with the hopes of getting them off the streets. Most importantly, that 65% reduction in encampments did not happen by mistake. Having a year-round shelter offered a safe space, a safe space. That is the goal, providing a safe space that is dignified, that has amenities for families. What a great opportunity to get help for those in greatest need. And you've seen the renderings. These spaces offer that. So with the cost and the responses from the community, I only want to consider one location. We removed one, but honestly, at this today, I am only interested in one location, and that is Survey Road. Thank you. So now, I'd like to turn it over to you, Councilmember Robles.
So make the motion to go to Survey Road.
Okay, that was pretty easy.
Your position relative to removal of East Stockton.
Yes.
So you would amend your motion to remove East Stockton from consideration. I just want to be clear for the motion. Right?
Are you doing a ranking motion, or are you
My
doing
ranking
a singular
is for
motion?
Survey Road to be the on top, so.
Does that require clarity?
Well,
So
I
I
think it'll
think,
require clarity. That's what I'm trying
okay, so I think if I'm understanding, the motion is to only consider Survey Road, is that correct? Yes. Okay. So we, all right, we have a motion and a second. Any substitute motions? Otherwise, I will call for the vote.
Substitute motion is that we support Survey first, East Stockton second, because you do have to go out and do bids or talk to the owners of those properties. And there's a very good chance that neither one of them will accept. There's a good chance that one of the two may accept. But we need to give ourselves the flexibility and the option.
So I have to take that motion first, per Robert's Rules of Order, the substitute motion. Is there a second for that substitute motion?
Given that, I mean, this council member in that district, I will.
You support keeping, so the Survey one,
Survey one,
East
and then
Stockton
East Stockton
two.
two, yes.
Okay. So that's the substitute motion.
I'll support that one.
So can we do a roll call vote for that, please?
So for the roll call vote, and this is for the most recent substitute motion by Councilmember Brewer. So this is for having the 2 sites ranked, with Survey as 1, East Stockton as 2. For the roll call vote, I will start with Councilmember Robles.
Yes.
Councilmember Spies.
No.
Councilmember Brewer.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Suen.
I'm going to preface my vote with, I believe we have time to come back and reevaluate. So I'm going to say no.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Oh, goodness. I'm going to say no, and here is why. I really don't want to consider the alternative, period. We'll have to go through this all over again. If we run into a roadblock, then let that be our problem to deal with. But to have certainty, I think, is important. So with that, we have our original motion, which was moved by, I believe, Councilmember Robles, and a second
From me.
from you, and a roll call vote for that.
And this is just to have survey as the one site that is selected.
Correct.
For that roll call vote, I will start with Councilmember Robles.
Yes.
Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Brewer.
No.
Vice Mayor Suen.
Yes.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Yes. I want to thank the residents. I honestly expected to be here till midnight. Truly, but you were respectful, you were kind, you were focused in your comments. Everybody that participated in this process, I know that this was not easy. I know that this was not easy, and I want to thank the neighborhood near the current shelter. Thank you. And to the extent between now and the expiration of that contract, please reach out to me. Please reach out to your PD. We want to make sure that for the remainder of this journey that we are good partners. So thank you all.
Madam Mayor, can I, one quick?
Yes, please.
I'd like to thank us, right? We always talk about thinking about one Elk Grove, right? And I know it's not hard to do it's not easy to always do because of the way that the elections are set up. But I know I'm very happy that we can look together as a team to find the best solution for one Elk Grove. So I want to thank you.
Yes, thank you for being respectful and being passionate and speaking,
Absolutely.
you know, from your constituency, your point of view. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us a strong city, a healthy city, because we have mutual respect for each other. You don't have meanness up here. You have respect. And from time to time, very rarely, but from time to time, there will be disagreement. And disagreement is okay because every single person here I know comes from a great place. They love this city and they love and respect our residents. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, I'm going to move on to the next item, which is very short. Council comments and future agenda items. I'll start with Councilmember Robles. Anything to report out?
None to report.
Councilmember Spies?
I have nothing to report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Brewer?
SAC-RT met on Monday where we installed you as our new chair.
congratulations.
And Supervisor
More work.
Pat Hume as its vice chair.
And Councilmember Suen?
Sewer district meeting today. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, SAC-RT. I do want to adjourn in the memory of someone. There was a horrific crime that took place in the city of Rancho Cordova. However, the business owner operated a business here in our city. And unfortunately, Lindsay Peralta Vallega and her 2 children were murdered. It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. And these are the times we must be reminded to live in a compassionate world, a kind world. May Lindsay and her 2 beautiful children, may they rest in peace, and may the family find comfort in their memory. Thank you, everyone.